You know, one can take a 3-second lie.
The event was a private party. There was a lucrative dice game that went on at the event.
But in all actuality, we had been there for a while.
This was a case of a young man taking the life of another young man.
Now to breaking news, a deadly shooting in the heart of downtown Houston overnight, and there are reports several high-profile rappers were there when that gunfire rang out.
I'm Sharon Minchow. We are following breaking news. Takeoff from the Atlanta-based rap trio Migos is dead following a shooting outside of a bar in downtown Houston. It happened about 2 this morning at the Green Street complex.
B57 Beats. What's the meaning? Through my peripheral, I see you scheming. What's the meaning?
Krishnik Kari Ball, aka Takeoff, was fatally shot outside of a private party at a downtown Houston bowling alley. Takeoff formed 1/3 of the Grammy Award-nominated trio The Migos with his uncle Quavo and his cousin Offset. Takeoff was killed when gunfire erupted, also wounding another man and a woman, according to HPD Chief Troy Finner. Most of the 40 people who attended the party at 810 Billiards and Bowling fled when the gunshots rang out. This would lead to the APD asking who may have been witnesses to come forward and give statements and videos to investigators on what they saw and heard, even if anonymously. Mayor at the time, Sylvester Turner, said at least 2 people discharged firearms, according to his police chief.
But I will say this was not an incident that happened at just like in an open club where people can come in and come out and nobody knows everybody. This was a private event. And based on the investigation of about 40 people. It is important for the hip-hop community, for everybody else, for the city, for the family. Mm-hmm. It is important for those who have information on who the shooters were to make that information known. There's a responsibility and accountability on all of us to do that. And that's why I want to deal with the subject matter, that there are too many young men of color that lives are being cut short.
The others who were struck by gunfire had non-life-threatening wounds and went to hospitals in private vehicles. These are the detailed events of what took place before, during, and after the death of Takeoff. Takeoff, a well-known rapper with the hip-hop trio The Migos, known for hits like Bad and Bougie, was murdered November the 1st of 2022. Born Krishnik Kari Ball, Takeoff helped form the Migos in 2008 with his uncle and cousin, with whom he was raised. Their first big success came in 2013 with their single Versace, which was later remixed by Drake. The Migos would follow up with popular singles including Fight Night and Look at My Dab, before the highly publicized popularity of their 2016 album Culture. Culture debuted at #1 on the Billboard chart and spawned the #1 single Bad and Bougie, as well as the hits T-Shirt and Slippery. The Migos continued releasing hits such as Motorsport, Stir Fry, and Pure Water, most recently releasing Straightening from the album Culture 3 in 2021. Takeoff also had a solo career where he would drop singles such as Last Memory, Hotel Lobby, and Party with DJ Khaled. In 2022, controversy would arise with a Migos split after Offset was no longer part of the group. This would all take place just a month before Takeoff's death. Takeoff will go on to release the album only built for Infinity Links as a duo project with Quavo. Let's move on. The Harris County Medical Examiner would rule the death of Takeoff as a homicide just a day after Takeoff had died in a shooting outside a Houston bowling alley on Tuesday, November the 1st of 2022.
And tonight, the investigation into the shooting death of Takeoff continues.
Yeah, Takeoff, as we said, a member of the rap group Migos, was shot outside a bowling alley in downtown Houston. That's where Maria Aguilera joins us live with the latest. Maria?
Mia, Len, police are still looking for the person or persons involved in the shooting that resulted in the death of Migos rapper known as Takeoff. On social media, a lot of questions and speculation about what led to the incident. Now, HPD says that there are limited details because it is an ongoing investigation. Earlier today, crime scene investigators arrived at the scene just outside 810 Billiards and Bowling Alley. Investigators walking in and out of the area, seemingly collecting evidence as part of their investigation. Although this did not happen inside the bowling alley, a spokesperson for the company sent us a statement saying they are cooperating with authorities, adding that their thoughts are with the families and loved ones of those affected by this tragedy. The rapper allegedly attended a private party with about 40 people. HPD and the mayor asking for witnesses to come forward. According to police, 2 other people were shot, a 23-year-old man and 24-year-old woman. Police say they drove to nearby hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. Their names have not been released. Now, the medical examiner today ruled Takeoff's death a homicide from gunshot wounds. Now, HPD and Crime Stoppers are asking anybody with information about the shooting to come forward. Back to you.
We'll pick it up from here. Thank you, Maria.
Takeoff's actual cause of death was from penetrating gunshot wounds to the head, torso, and arm. According to the HPD, officers responded to a shooting at 810 Billiards and Bowling shortly after 2:30 a.m. and arrived to find one man had been fatally shot.
Now to breaking news, a deadly shooting in the heart of downtown Houston overnight, and there are reports several high-profile rappers were there when that gunfire rang out.
Yeah, this happened near the corner of Polk and San Jacinto. Ugochi Iloka was the first reporter live at the scene. And Ugochi, you've been talking to witnesses and police. What's the latest?
Yeah, the latest is Houston police still out here investigating this deadly shooting that happened outside of Billiards and Bowling Alley. So a witness and a security guard do tell me that the rap group Migos was here at the time of the shooting, and Houston police did confirm that with us not too long ago. Take a look at this video of the scene here. A couple of hours ago, Houston police say that the shooting happened on the 3rd floor of the balcony. A crowd of about 30 to 40 people were gathered outside, and witnesses reported 2 groups arguing, entourages, and fighting. The next thing you know, shots were fired. Police say a man was shot in the neck and head and was killed here, sadly. Security guards were involved in the shooting, according to police. Witnesses also describe that as well. Now, the crowd ran outside trying to get some assistance there. We're told that 2 other victims, according to police, showed up at local hospitals. Here's what police had to say when we asked about Quavo and Takeoff being here at the time of the shooting. Take a listen. So you haven't identified if the rappers are Migos? We were told by several witnesses who attended the party they were here at the bowling alley.
Yes, we were informed that they were here.
The
yes.
Migos, Quavo and Takeoff?
Yes.
So you heard it there. They did confirm on the record that Takeoff and Quavo, rappers a part of the rap group Migos, were in fact here at the time of the shooting. However, they did not confirm if they were involved in the shooting or if either one of them were shot here. So we're working to get more information. Witnesses tell us that they were very upset that all of this happened. We're working to get more details for them as well, too. We'll send it back to you all in the studio.
A big update for us this morning. Ugochi Iloka bringing us the latest involving Migos in this shooting. Thank you so much.
During a press briefing the Tuesday after the shooting, Houston Police Sergeant Michael Arrington stated that the shooting occurred after an argument broke out following a private party at the bowling alley.
Thank you all for coming here, and good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Michael Arrington. I'm a sergeant with the Houston Police Department's Homicide Division, and earlier this morning, as he said, our patrol officers received a call at approximately 2:34 a.m. of a shooting just occurred at the 810 Billiard Factory and Billiard and Bowling Alley. From there, we were notified that there was a single male who was shot and pronounced deceased on the scene on the 3rd level, just outside the front door. We were also informed that 2 other individuals had reported themselves by personal vehicle to local area hospitals on their own, both of them with non-life-threatening injuries, but a 23-year-old male and a 24-year-old female. Like I said, both of them are going to be okay. and we have spoken and gotten information from them to help us in this investigation. But the officers arriving on the scene, initial statements from employees working at the establishment notified us that there was an incident that occurred after the party had ended. There was a private party that was booked out for the event. And then after that ended, there was a large group of people who gathered at the front door area just outside of the building. And it led to an argument where the shooting took place from the disagreement.
Takeoff and Quavo were playing dice at the party when an altercation broke out and someone opened fire. 2 other people, a man and a woman, sustained injuries and were hospitalized. HPD Chief Troy Finner stated that he believed 2 firearms were used at the shooting and that the shooter or shooters were present at the party were in their 20s. Finner would also add that he and his team had no reason to believe that Takeoff was involved in any criminal activity at the time of the shooting.
And Chief, you mentioned that you don't believe that Takeoff was involved in the altercation. Are you confident saying that you don't believe Takeoff may have been the intended target here?
I'm not comfortable in saying that. I don't want to speculate, not at this time. Go ahead.
But based on the comments of young men killing black men, do you think this individual is the suspect might be younger than, let's say, 20?
I think they were probably all in their 20s, okay? But again, I don't like speculation. We want to wait until we nail it down. I want us to all understand the family is hurting, and I don't mind the questions. I mean, that's a part of it. But if we send our family, our loved ones who are looking and listening on a roller coaster, that's what I always caution against as the police chief. I want to make sure that we're taking them in consideration, but we are gonna, bottom line, mark my word, and mark it. This great city, with our great citizens, with our police department, we will find who's responsible for it.
As of that Wednesday morning, police had not identified any suspects or announced any arrests. On December the 1st of 2022, a 33-year-old man was arrested on murder charges in the shooting of Takeoff when he was struck by gunfire outside of the Houston bowling alley in November of that year. Patrick Xavier Clark was taken into custody on a Thursday night.
Tonight, though, with Houston police telling us they had to rely on video evidence instead of witnesses to make an arrest in the deadly shooting of Migos rapper Takeoff.
Police arresting 33-year-old Patrick Clark for murder exactly 1 month after the shooting in downtown Houston. Right now, police say their job is not done and they want to speak with a crowd of people, approximately 30 folks, who were outside the bowling alley when the shooting happened. Gerald Harris, live downtown with the latest on the investigation. Gerald?
Yeah, the shooting death of Takeoff shocked many, but the announcement of an arrest pushes this case one step forward towards justice for the famed rapper.
Definitely wrong place at the wrong time.
More details are coming out surrounding the murder of beloved rapper and member of Migos, Takeoff. He was killed at a downtown Houston bowling alley.
The event was a private party. There was a lucrative dice game that went on at the event. There was an argument that happened afterwards outside the bowling alley, which led to the shooting.
33-year-old Patrick Xavier Clark was taken into police custody Thursday evening. He's accused of firing the gun, killing Takeoff.
I can tell you that Takeoff was not involved in playing in the dice game. He was not involved in the argument that happened outside. He was not armed. He was an innocent bystander.
The details are limited as the investigation remains ongoing. Police are looking to speak with around 30 people who were also at the location of the shooting. No one left a statement while at the scene.
We know who was on the scene, and we will be contacting and reaching out and finding those individuals. This is a murder.
Offset's real name is Kersnick Kari Ball, just 28 years old when he was killed. Houston's Mayor Sylvester Turner is pleading for an end to plaguing gun violence.
There are too many young men of color who are killing other young men of color, and that has to stop.
According to court documents, Clark applied for an expedited passport shortly after the shooting and said he was going to Mexico. He had the passport and a large amount of cash when he was arrested. And Clark will make his first court appearance tonight at 7 p.m. in Project Court. Prosecutors are asking the judge to keep him behind bars and deny bond. Lynn?
All right, Gerald, thank you. An arrest 1 month after the shooting. Right now you can find out more about the investigation and the second person who's been arrested for being in possession of a gun at the time of the shooting. 22-year-old Joshua Cameron is not charged with firing his weapon. His bond hearing set for next week.
Patrick's arrest came 1 day after another man was charged in connection with the November 1st shooting.
We begin with breaking news involving the murder of Takeoff, the rapper. No one has been charged, but today a man connected to the case appeared in court. Stephanie Whitfield joins us live at the criminal courthouse with the very latest. Steph.
To be clear, Cameron Joshua is not charged with murder. He's charged with 2 counts of possession of a firearm, but prosecutors say surveillance video from the night of Takeoff's murder shows him there holding a weapon. They say a witness confirms that too. You may remember Migos rapper Takeoff was shot and killed on November 1st in downtown Houston. He was attending a private party at the 810 Billiards and Bowling Alley. The deadly shooting happened outside afterwards. Police have said the shooting stemmed from an argument. We heard from prosecutors and defense attorneys after the hearing this morning. Joshua's defense reiterated in court that he is not accused of firing a weapon or killing anyone.
We believe Cameron Joshua has been appropriately charged in this case, and we're continuing our investigation into the death of Takeoff.
If they thought he was involved in the shooting, they would have charged him with it.
Joshua is out on bond for an auto theft out of California, so his bond could be revoked in that case. So this bond hearing was reset until that is sorted out. Now, again, right now, Cameron Joshua is charged with possession of a firearm, and his attorneys say the bottom line is he did not shoot the rapper Takeoff, and he hopes to get out on bond and clear his name. Reika, back to you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. And of course, we're going to stay on top of this story, post any updates on the investigation onto our website. We'll have another live report coming up at 4. And of course, to read more about the life and legacy of Takeoff, just head to khou.com.
Patrick was being held in jail that Friday awaiting a bond hearing. Court records did not list an attorney who could speak for him, but did indicate that Patrick was arrested as he was preparing to leave the country for Mexico. Prosecutors on Friday asked the court to set Patrick's bond at $2 million, arguing that he was a flight risk. After Takeoff shooting, Patrick applied for an expedited passport by submitting the itinerary for an imminent flight to Mexico, according to court records. Patrick was arrested the day he received the passport and was in possession of a large amount of cash. On that Wednesday, the HPD announced the arrest of Cameron Joshua in connection to the shooting. Cameron was charged with illegally having a gun at the time of Takeoff's murder, but was not believed to have fired the weapon. Christopher Downey, Joshua's attorney, told reporters he has not seen anything to suggest that his client was involved in Takeoff's killing. Social media would go into an uproar, stating that mob ties were to blame for the shooting, going as far as to say that Jay Prince's son walked over Takeoff's body like he didn't exist. This would obviously not sit right with the Prince family, as it would take to social media to defend themselves against the allegation. Jay Prince Sr. would ultimately end up addressing Offset, who had made threats towards Jay and his family. Out of nowhere, the $1 million bond for Patrick Clark will be paid by an alleged concerned citizen. Patrick had been jailed since his December 1st arrest and was originally being held on $2 million bond, which was subsequently reduced by half by a Harris County District Court judge. Patrick Clark was released from jail 3 weeks after his defense attorneys successfully lobbied a judge to reduce his bail amount from $2 million to $1 million. Shockingly, Patrick's bond was lowered to $1 million on December 14th by Harris County Judge Josh Hill of the 232nd District Court. Patrick's attorney argued during a hearing that day that the original bond amount was excessive and unconstitutional, and that he and his family could not afford to come up with the 10% bail amount, which was required to post bond. Patrick's father, Joseph, took the witness stand during the hearing and reportedly said his son had pre-existing plans to travel out the country with family members, also offering to use their Channelview home as collateral in arrangement with the bail bonds company. Patrick, who had no prior criminal convictions in Harris County, was accused of firing multiple gunshots into a crowd, fatally striking Takeoff. The HPD would state that they identified Patrick as the suspected shooter by using surveillance footage, cell phone videos, and fingerprints in a wine bottle Patrick alleged to have held during the shooting, later discarding it at the nearby House of Blues. According to the bond conditions ordered by Judge Hill, Patrick was required to remain under continuous house arrest and wear a GPS monitoring device with the capability of notifying the court, law enforcement, Harris County pretrial services, defense counsel, and the Harris County District Attorney's Office immediately upon any potential violation, including but not limited to device tampering, failure to properly charge the device, or arrest violations.